Hello, hello. Welcome back. I'm Nick.
Hello, I'm Matt.
This is Nick and Matt's Everyday English Corner, episode 9. And today we're going to be talking about bad weather.
Bad weather, especially snow, since as of recording this video, it is currently snowing very hard. We're having a blizzard.
Yes, this is probably the most intense snowstorm I've ever seen in my life. It is so intense that when I looked outside this morning, my windows were completely drenched in snow, and it almost seems foggy outside from how much snow is coming down all at once. It's crazy.
Yeah, I can see why they use the term whiteout for a lot of blizzards because all you can see past a certain distance is just white. So I can actually see why it was named that now.
Yeah, not to mention the amount of snow that's already piled up on the ground. So, for the record here, it started lightly snowing last night at around 7 p.m. and it's been snowing since. And when I looked outside this morning, the snow had already piled up like past the halfway points on the tires of our car, or my car
Yeah,
anyway.
mine
And
as well. Yeah.
yeah, and looking at the weather forecast, it seems like it's just going to keep snowing throughout the day, late into the night. So we'll have to see if we can even open our doors by the time we're done here.
Absolutely. I'm a bit lucky because we have doors that open outwards, and I've done it once this morning, and I have people in the apartment actually go down and they shovel the snow out of the way of the doors like every hour, hour and a half. So everyone's making sure that we can actually leave when it's time to actually leave.
Well, that's nice. And I remember your apartment is it's a setup where you enter into the building and then you go up a series of stairs to then get to your door. So at the very least you can leave your apartment door, or you can leave like your apartment room into the bigger building complex, but my apartment only has the door from the outside, and the snow is already starting to pile up. So, for the people of our apartment, we have to prepare ourselves to immediately exit out into the cold when we open the door.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's direct for you, and you basically have to take care of your own doorway, shoveling it and everything like that as well, I bet.
Yeah, we have to all kind of band together to shovel the doorway, and then we got to wade through what's probably going to be ankle deep snow, or maybe even higher, to get to our cars, which are on the other side of the building, and then shovel all those out because it's a community parking space. So we're all in it together.
Absolutely. It's the same for me. After the snow stops, normally everyone comes out of their house, they start shoveling everything. Normally, like the snow vehicles start coming around to get rid of the big portion of it in the road. So it's actually interesting to see that as soon as the snow stops, everyone just goes out and works at once.
Yeah, that is, I think, another great part about Japan's culture of collectivism and working together to achieve a greater goal, especially in a country like Japan, which is riddled with natural disasters. Like everyone bands together to help each other out in these types of situations, which is probably one of the reasons why their disaster recovery periods are so renowned for being efficient and getting done in a timely manner. So the same applies for trying to just shovel out your doorway for the next day to get to work when a big snowstorm like this
Absolutely.
comes.
In Japan, yeah, especially Japan has a lot of natural disasters. Just here alone, you have chances of earthquakes, you have blizzards, you have tsunamis, especially if you're close to the coast, it's worse. You have volcanoes. So a lot of these is just something I'm not used to because in North Carolina, we only had tornadoes, like not even hurricanes normally. Those were very rare.
Yeah, but blizzards are something that is completely new to both of us. Well,
Yes.
not so much for me because I used to live up in Northern Europe for a good portion of my childhood. So I'm not exactly a stranger to snow, but I did live in California for half of my life. So we hardly even get rain, let alone snow, because everything is so dry, which means that coming here and experiencing stuff like this, uh, it definitely takes a bit of getting used to, even now.
Absolutely. I'm still getting used to the snow. And I've been here like 7 months now, 8 months, somewhere around there. And once it started, it seemed okay. And every month it just started getting more and more snowy. And it goes to the day where it's the snowiest it's been yet.
Yeah, we had that one heavy snowfall day in February, which we both walked to work that day because we didn't want to use our paid time off. So we were thinking about doing that again today, but when I looked outside this morning and I saw just how insane the wind speeds were, the amount of snow that was falling down, I just kind of thought to myself, yeah, maybe I don't want to catch hypothermia today. And I decided to call in.
Absolutely. It was about the same. If I bundled up enough, I could have walked it, but it's that part of your brain that decides if even doing so is worth it or not.
Yeah, this is one of those days where you gotta tell yourself you gotta know when to hold them and know when to fold them. And right now it's folding time.
Absolutely. But it just means we get spend the day at home, and as a result, record this podcast, so it works.
Yeah, I figured it was fitting, um, just to talk about us getting used to this part of, well, I want to say Japan, but considering just how far north in Japan we live, this isn't even a Japan thing. If anything, most of Japan doesn't experience this. It's just due to our geography. We get hit with these crazy snowstorms because that's just where we live. Because Japan is so long. If you think about it, all
Yeah.
the way from Okinawa up to like the northern regions of Japan is thousands of kilometers.
Oh, absolutely. Like Japan is a very long country, and I think a lot of people outside of the country underestimate just how big it is if you're trying to get from one destination to the other along that length. And of course, the dangers change as well, because in Hokkaido, we don't really have to worry about typhoons. They always avoid Hokkaido because of the cold air. Um, then, of course, the further south you go, they don't have to worry about snow. So it does change just like what exactly is dangerous, no matter where you go.
Yeah, it's a bit of a trade off. And I do enjoy the fact that we don't have to worry as hard about earthquakes and especially typhoons as much as the southern coastal cities of Japan do, like Tokyo, Osaka. But the snow, when it hits. And if you did not do your preparation the day before, it can be rough because again, like we've been saying, it is so intense that we quite physically should not leave the house because it would probably be dangerous to go outside.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely no one is driving right now.
Yeah,
And walking, you walk, I guess, only if you absolutely need something. So it's unfortunate for the people who did have to actually go and work at a convenience store and everything like that during the snowstorm.
yeah, because the convenience stores are still open, despite the fact that hardly anyone is coming. But that's part of Japan's hard attitude towards its working culture. Is we need these systems to be online even in these harsh conditions. So I bet a lot of people that are working at these, well, supermarkets, convenience stores, probably walked because cars are not driving right now. No one is driving right now. The roads are absolutely unusable, and there's no point in plowing them at the moment because the snow is still going to fall for like another 8 to 10 hours. So it would just pile up again.
Absolutely. Now, there's actually a very interesting thing that America does, at least Southern America, is there's an organization that you already know. There's called FEMA, and they handle the all the emergencies for weather in the United States. So they're the ones that respond to disasters like hurricanes, blizzards, tornadoes, and they're what they do is they make sure that everyone's safe. Now, in Southern America, I don't know about California, but we have a very popular restaurant chain called Waffle House. Have you seen one of those before?
I'm sure I have at some point. I don't
Mhm.
think we had any in California, at least not the part that I was living in. I'm sure they're around
I
there somewhere though.
One of the things they're famous for is they're open 24 hours and they basically don't close for almost anything. So what ends up happening is they actually get a bit of money from FEMA, this organization that helps with emergencies, to report if they're open or closed or they're reducing their menu. And they actually use that to gauge how bad a disaster is in the area. So if the Waffle House is open and can serve everything, then FEMA says it's not a very dangerous disaster. Just be careful. If like the power is like out and they can only serve like a little bit of food, then they say that it's a disaster, so they need to go and help and be careful. And if Waffle House is closed, it's like severe disaster, people are dying. So they actually have a rating system that they use based off this restaurant alone.
That's wild. Is if a it's all based on whether or not a 24-hour restaurant is open or not.
Exactly. And that's just because this restaurant is like the mailman. It's open and working no matter what's going on. And if it happens to not be open, then everyone's probably gone or dead. Like it's that severe.
Well, fortunately, the disaster. Well, I can't really call this a disaster. It's just really, really bad weather. But
Yeah.
I don't think anyone is dying out here. It's difficult to go places.
Yes, exactly. But that's because everyone here is prepared
Yeah,
for the snow. They actually have transportation if they absolutely need it. They got a lot of stores close by. They have food stockpiled. So they had the support system and the experience. if I got this amount of snow in North Carolina, people would be dying.
Yeah, and the same thing kind of goes for the southern parts of Japan as well. Like, if this amount of snow fell in like Tokyo, people would think the world is ending because they don't have the infrastructure that we have up here in Hokkaido to handle this type of snowfall. In fact, I've heard stories that even just a small 2-3 centimeters of snowfall in the southern cities in Japan, everything closes.
Yes, absolutely. Um, Especially because they don't get much snow down in southern Japan. So without that support, like they don't have snow tires, they probably have very limited snow trucks to actually clean off the roads afterwards. There's not as much experience to deal with ice. So it becomes a whole new level of dangerous just because of those like a few common things up here that are not existing down there.
Yeah, it's the infrastructure, the public systems that are in place to handle this type of weather that benefit us residents of Hokkaido a lot. And like I was talking about earlier, the response of the people to this weather once it settles down makes sure that everything is up and running in a timely manner by the next day. Like the snowplow trucks come out immediately and they have a ton of people on standby ready to go as soon as the snowfall ends, and they are out plowing until the next morning. Um, and then our neighbors, we all go out there and we start shoveling immediately because, hey, society's got to keep running. We got to go to work. We got things to do. So that's been one of the things that really impressed me about coming here and seeing how we handle the response to the snow.
Exactly. And that's what I like. Because the last time we had a blizzard, the day of the blizzard, there was no school. Only because it was actually actively during a blizzard. But the very next day, school was open as usual. And that's just because of how fast they cleared the roads. They made it ready for everyone to travel again. So just the sheer efficiency was great for that.
Yeah, I again, I do not know how other countries handle this type of response. Well, it's not even countries; it's this region specifically that's so good at handling the the snow. But it truly is a world class system, and I'm glad that all of this is in place to keep things running because I'm sure there's a lot of other places in the world, especially places like North Carolina and California, that if they got this much snow, oh, things would be down for days.
Oh yes. Do remember when I was young, we got about 3 inches of snow, which is not very much. And the governor of North Carolina declared it a national emergency, just for the 3 inches. So the expectation is very different.
Yeah, when I lived in Texas when I was really young, we hardly got any snow whatsoever. It was just an inch, maybe. Everything closed because we don't have snow tires. Snow tires are an absolute necessity up in these northern regions, not just here in Hokkaido, but anywhere in northern Europe or places that get a lot of snow, Canada, etc., etc. But it would genuinely be dangerous. But it's just really funny when you look at the sheer volume and the different responses that people have to it.
Absolutely. So I'd be curious because there's only one more region of Japan that's technically more snowy than this, and that's Aomori.
Ah,
So
yes.
I'd be very curious if they have any extra safeguards or any extra thing they do. to prepare and then help with the snow afterwards.
I do wonder that as well. I'll have to look into that. Can't say anything specifically right now because we don't live in Aomori. But I do know that Aomori is like really famous for those giant snow walls because again, it is the snowiest city slash region on the planet. So there's a lot of snowy related attractions there.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Because I believe it actually meets the requirement. It's the snowiest city in the world, is Aomori City. So
Right, right.
even though it's more south than Hokkaido, it just meets the requirements to get a lot more snow.
Yeah, in fact, the area we live doesn't actually get as much snow on paper as the other parts of Hokkaido, which is crazy, but also makes sense considering that the prefecture alone is like the size of a country.
Absolutely, there are definitely countries smaller than Hokkaido. Um, I think it just driving from one end to the other would probably take about 7 or 8 hours, I would imagine.
Yeah, which to an American doesn't sound like a lot, but yes, it is very big, so the weather changes drastically depending on where you are.
Absolutely. Because I know there's been plenty of times where we've had a little bit of snow, and Sapporo has gotten like 4, 5, 6 times the amount of snow that we've gotten. So there's always a big difference in that case.
Yeah, and so if Sapporo's getting the same amount of snow that we're getting right now, I know you're going to Sapporo in 2 days, actually, so I wish you the absolute best of luck getting there on these iced up, snowed down roads.
Yep, I'm going to make sure I'm prepared. I'm going to pack blankets, bottles of water, and stuff to keep me warm. So I will hopefully make it there safe.
Yeah, and for the love of God, do not forget your shovel.
No, that's coming with me. Absolutely.
But I believe that will do it here for us today. Um, Now we just gotta wait out the rest of the snowstorm and then get back out to our schools tomorrow. But thank you again for tuning in and
Thank
listening.
you.
This was Nick and Matt's Everyday English Corner, episode 9, Heavy Snowfall. And looking forward to seeing you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.
Yep. See you next time. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.